guys, how's it going? Brendan here, aka Mr. Weaverface. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for subscribing to the channel. I am really excited to do this video because I've been meaning for a long time to mod my original Game Boy Advance, the AGS-101 model, with a backlit screen. I'm doing this video because there are a lot of videos out there, but they're from like 2 or 3 years ago, and the screens that were used in those videos are all sold out. So this is the way to do it with the Game Boy Advance SP screen, the AGS-101. And in this video, I'll show you how to do all of that. I'll show you how to figure out if this is a 32 pin or a 40 pin model. There is some soldering involved, and I have never done soldering, so this is going to be a first time for me. So hopefully that'll get you past the hurdle on doing this yourself. And I'll also show you where to get all the products needed to outfit this with the backlit screen. Now, I'm not going to use this casing. I did buy a new case and buttons, but you certainly can reuse this case to put the backlit screen in there. You don't need to get a new case. So, without further delay, let's get to work. All right, flip the Game Boy over, take off the battery cover, take the batteries out because you know you were just playing this a couple of seconds ago. And before you order anything, what you need to do is you need to look in this little slot right here above the battery cover. Right in there. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see in there, but there are some numbers in there in that little slot of the battery cover. What you need to figure out first is if this Game Boy Advance is a 32 pin or a 40 pin model. So when you're looking at the numbers here, this model starts with a 0. It says 02. So if it starts with the 0 on the left-hand side, that is the 40 pin model. If you would have a 32 pin model, the first number would be a 1. So that's what you need to figure out first before you go ahead with any of these mods. So we figured out which model this is. This is the 40 pin model because it starts with the 0. And what we have to do now is take it apart. Now, you can't use a Phillips screwdriver. You do need a tri-wing screwdriver. So that's the one that has 3 prongs coming off of it, kind of like the middle part of a peace sign. And there are a few screws that we need to undo. So 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. So let's get the screws off and then see what's inside. Now don't forget, there is a screw here in the battery compartment, and that is a regular Phillips screwdriver screw. Alright, so this is what the inside of the Game Boy Advance looks like. You can take the sides off, you can take the LNR buttons off. Set them to the side. And this is screwed down to the front part where the screen is. So there are a few screws that you need to undo to get the board off. So there are 2 here, and there's 1 over there. So this is the back side of the Game Boy. This is the front side here. So there's some buttons sticking to this. We'll take those off. We'll take the buttons out of here. Alright, so this Game Boy Advance now is button free. We took all the buttons off of the casing there too. Alright, so what we want to do is disconnect the screen from the board. So there are 2 prongs here on either side of this ribbon. So we're going to push down on each tab a little bit to open it up, and the ribbon should come free. Now you can see on the ribbon, there's no contacts on the back side The contacts are only on this top side here. So once you disconnect the ribbon from the motherboard, what you have to do is you have to carefully take the screen out of here. And you do that by just using a screwdriver, coming underneath and lifting it up. However, I'm not going to do that because I have a separate case that I'm going to use for the new screen and the original motherboard. So I bought 2 kits off of eBay. The first kit is the screen kit, and I got this from the God of Gaming. The seller is very helpful. He described why I have to do what I'm about to do. So first of all, you get the screen, you get the ribbon, and you have a wire pre-soldered to the ribbon. If you don't get a kit like this, you're gonna have to solder, make an extra solder point. So you have to solder the wire to the ribbon at that spot right there. So if you had the 32 pin model, all you're gonna have to do is solder the end of this ribbon to the board at one spot. However, I have the 40 pin model, so I will have a separate wire here that I need to solder 2 more points on the board. So if you're looking to do it the easy way, I would definitely try to find a 32 pin model Game Boy Advance, because then you only have to do 1 solder point. The reason for this extra mod with a separate wire is to help with the contrast of the screen in doing this mod. If you're planning to use your original Game Boy Advance case, you're pretty much good to go, but if not, you're gonna need to get a new case. So I decided to go with the translucent green case. And let me just open it up here to show you what you need to do. If you decide to keep your original case, you're going to need to cut away a bunch of plastic sticking up here on the inside. And the reason you want to do that is because the new LCD screen will not fit in here properly unless you cut all of this plastic out. So I actually bought this pre-cut, so I don't have to waste extra time in doing it. And I'll show a link to the seller that does this. And you can use your original buttons from your Game Boy Advance, but I decided to go with all new buttons, and he sent like a screwdriver there as well. And I decided to get the glass screens. Let me get that out here. Most of the screens on the Game Boy Advances are plastic, but the glass screen will hold up a lot better. It's not going to scratch as much, and it actually includes that sticker there as well, so that's pretty cool. So he also gives a warning. There are screws that come with this, and it says do not use the stock screw for the battery compartment. It's too long and will puncture through, so use the shorter screws that are included in the kit. So very good directions there. So if you're planning to get a new case, everything pretty much is given to you if you want it. If you want to keep it original and use your original Game Boy Advance case, you can do that too. All right, so we're gonna get to the nitty gritty here now. So I have the screen, and there is a screen protector on it, but I'm not gonna take it off quite yet. I'm just gonna lay it down in there as it should be positioned. And you can see the ribbon coming off of the new screen right there. And here is the adapter ribbon that came pre-soldered with the wire, as so. Now there is a gray tab here on the white, and what you need to do is you need to flip the gray tab up. There is a little notch there that you can flip it up as so, like that. Otherwise, if you try to put the cable in there without doing that, it's not going to go in. Now I want to explain something real quick, because I actually did this whole thing already and I wasn't getting anything coming up off the screen. It was booting up, you could hear the Game Boy Advance ring, but there was nothing coming on the screen. So make sure you check the connections going to the board and the connection from the screen to this, because what I did, I think I had it either wrong here and or here. So when you have this connecting to the board, you want to make sure that you can see the connections on the top like that, okay? Because there's a back side that's all white. So you want to make sure the connections are sticking up here on the white part when you connect it into the board. And this is where I may have had my mistake. So the connection here on this side, you know, on the wire side where the wire is soldered, you do not want the connected side showing up on this side. You actually want the white part on that side, and you want the connections of the screen showing up on the opposite side. So you want to connect this ribbon to this with these connections on this side opposite the side of the wire. So you guys see that? I think I had it flipped up because I was thinking that the connections should have been on both sides, but it's not. It should be the way that this is right here. So if we set the board on top of the screen that's in the bottom of the case, you can see how when the ribbon comes over here, it's not lining up where it needs to go over here, just the way this ribbon's coming out and the way this extends it. So a lot of people just make a little, like a Z kind of fold of the ribbon. So let me do that here. And then that should allow me to extend the ribbon up to where it needs to go into here. So let's do that next. Yes, so this goes underneath the board. I was just doing it the other way to line it up properly. Okay? We have this ribbon sticking out that's pre-soldered, so we're going to just move that to the side. And then we want to put this inside of the cable of the ribbon connector on the board. So this is probably going to be the toughest part, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually take the board off. I think it'll be easier if I take the board off and just put it in like this. And just gently tap back on those connectors as I drop my screwdriver. All right, so you see the C35, you see that big letter A, it's upside down here in the screen. And there's two things that look like a Y. There's this one here and then this one here. The one closest right here, that's the one you're looking at, and you want to connect it to this terminal right there. So not the first one that's out, but the second one in, so like the top of that Y. Not the first one, but the second one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to tack down the end of this wire here to that point right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. I just heated this up and then just tacked down the wire. It is so freaking small there. You have to be like very precise. But it does look like it's on the correct connection right there, and it's not like jumping to another trace or anything. All right, so I think that's good there. So if you had the 32-pin model, you would be done by now. And you saw how easy that was. You just have to take your time and be steady, and you can get that wire on no problem. However, I have the 40-pin model, so I need to make an extra connection with another wire here. The connection we're going to make, and I will zoom this in, hopefully it'll show up real good. We need to connect from this ground here where it says GND, we need to connect from that all the way up here next to the V3. There's actually one spot here that doesn't look like there's a hole in it. So we need to connect not to the V3, but the one like right below that as a part of this row. So like right there. And I'm going to show you guys a picture showing the exact connection all like blown up. But that's my attempt right now. I'm going to connect the wire from ground here to that one that's filled in next to the V3. All right, that was a little nerve-wracking because that was my first time. That was my very first time using a soldering iron. So I couldn't get this wire to connect to the ground. I did temporarily, and it just came right off. So I added a bit of solder to it. It balled up a little bit, but I think it's gonna work. And same thing with the top connection here. Balled it up on that point. And hopefully this works. All right, so everything's soldered, hopefully. And what I'm gonna do, I put something underneath this because I don't want the screen to get messed up, but I am gonna take the protective cover off the screen right now. Okay. Don't touch the screen unless you want a fingerprint on there forever. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put the case on real quick and put some batteries in here and see if this works. You gotta be careful with this wire because this wants to stick out through the top. Okay. I think that's good. So let's put some batteries in here and hopefully we get something off this screen. I see a light. Oh, baby. Cool. So let's take the batteries out. Now, since I was handling this a little extra, I'm pretty sure I got some smudges there on the front. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, actually there's a couple fingerprints. So let me just clean those off real quick with the lens cloth. And really you should keep the plastic cover on the entire time before you're ready to put it in. But my issue is I had it all ready to go and I couldn't get the screen to come on, so I had to redo that and troubleshoot all that and figure out that it was the ribbon not hooked up properly, which is the reason that it wasn't working properly. So I'm going to use new buttons that came with the kit. So we have this rubber piece that goes over the gamepad on the back. There's a little nub there. Put the hole in that. And you're lining the black parts up with each control movement. And there's two little things sticking up here on the console cover. So plop that down and then you can put the two little holes go over those things sticking out very easily. So let's put the A and B buttons in. The A goes on the outside. B goes on the inside. And there is a rubber piece that goes over that as well. And you can see a larger hole and a smaller hole. So the larger hole goes over that screw hole and then the smaller hole goes over that prong there. We have a light indicator that goes into there. We have the start and select buttons, which go in here. There's a little nub there to go in that hole so it goes on correctly. And then we got to get the side pieces and the L and R buttons on there. Now the side pieces, they do look a little different. One has a little notch on it right there. So just put them on. The one with the notch goes on the side as the gamepad opposite of the buttons. So that's how that goes in there. We'll put in our selector switch to turn it on. Nice clicking action. And then L and R buttons. So this is L. It's opposite because we have it upside down. And then R is over here. Let's flip this over, making sure, let me just clean this out here real quick. It's very dusty, but I'm not cleaning it up. I don't want to mess with the connections on that. All right, so we flip it over. The speaker has a little prong on it, so you have to make sure that there's a little notch coming out of the speaker. Here, I'll show you real quick. Like this notch here on the speaker. goes in that notch right there on the board, on the console cover. And just make sure that the on-off switch goes across. On-off switch, the indentation here goes, this goes inside of that, right like that. Okay, so let's screw in the screws. For the board, we're going to use the new screws we got with the kit. All of them are Phillips screwdrivers, so we don't need to use the tri-wing screwdriver anymore. And these are the holes that you're doing here with the control panel. Just be careful, because when you first put the screws in, if you're using a new console case, they're tough to go in, so you may slip when you're putting the screw in. So just be careful that you don't like knock anything off. There's one more screw that goes right here. Kind of hard to get to. It's between these capacitors. Right in there. So do it firm, don't like overdo it, but let's see, this one's sticking out now a little bit. Next, we're gonna put on the back side of the case, and just be careful with this wire. It tends to get in the way. So try to push it down over there. Pretty good. I just wanted this wire to look a little different here. I want it to fold like that. There we go. Alright, let's put in the 6 new screws. It came with our kit, and these are regular Phillips. The other ones were tri. I guess the other ones are just a tad bit longer. Obviously, if you're using your original case, you're going to use the original screws. I'm going to check that wire, make sure it's not sticking out. I'm using this heavier screwdriver because it goes a lot in easier. See, this wire sticking out here. There we go. See that? So it wasn't like completely closing up there on the top. Yeah, don't over tighten them. Just do them till there's pretty much resistance. Double check everything. Nice. Now, if for some reason you would need to adjust the screen because there's something stupid going on with it, there is an adjustment pot through this screw hole. Just find a small screwdriver. I mean, you can take the case back off and adjust it, but there actually is a hole right here. There's a hole right there, so you can push it down there and screw it back either way before you put the sticker back on, and that'll help adjust your screen. But the screen looks good, so I will get a game to test it out. But let's put everything. Let's finish putting the front screen on, the glass cover screen, and see how it looks. I don't see any fingerprints on the screen, so let's take this off. So we got our screen here, our new glass screen. Let's take the plastic cover off of it. Okay. And we have our sticker that we're going to add to the back. Very cool. It's pretty neat. So all we have to do is take off the pieces here on the back. So we're going to take off the middle piece first. Okay. And then we're going to take off the back, but not the whole part, just that, because that's an adhesive there underneath. So we're just peeling that off. And we're going to line it up as perfect as possible. Just make sure there's nothing underneath the glass. And just push down. So let's try some games. Let's try Pokemon Blue for the original Game Boy. Cool. Nice. Let's try a Game Boy Color game, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Oh, that looks so good. Huh. Alright, I suck. But that's pretty cool, man. And let's try a Game Boy, Mega Man Battle Network for Blue Moon. That looks the best. Oh, baby. Man, that looks so good. If you have it at an angle, it looks oversaturated, but if you're looking at it straight on, it looks pretty good. Yeah, if you have it at an angle, it looks a little different. Let's try adjusting the potentiometer in there. That won't fit. That won't fit. Yeah, it's all or nothing. Actually, if I adjusted it more, it looks better. Like that looks a little washed out. You can see it clearing up. And now it looks good from any angle. So yeah, definitely adjust the potentiometer or whatever that thing is called in the back there. That looks so much better. That looks amazing. Cool. There you have it, guys. Backlight mod for your Game Boy Advance. Thanks for watching. Sorry it was so lengthy, but hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I made when I first did this. But now, you know, I know what to do the next time around. This took me about 3 hours to like troubleshoot it and figure it all out. But I think if I did it again, it would probably take me 30 minutes tops. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.